Welcome, and thank you for your interest in the Arthur CUSD 305 Future-Focused Facility Planning efforts. This video is intended to provide some background and insights into the current facilities and how they are supporting the students and families of the Arthur CUSD 305 communities. This video is highly recommended not only for all residents of the district, but in particular, those interested in participating in the upcoming focus groups, which are aimed to help uncover the community's aspirations relative to both facilities and programs and opportunities. Before we begin, this video and the upcoming focus group meetings are an early step in a longer master planning process that is just beginning. This first video will review where we are now. In this phase, we both define our goals and assess our current conditions and constraints. The second phase, where we want to go, we'll take what we learn and begin to create our vision for the future by imagining and exploring what is possible. Finally, we will explore how do we get there. This third step is when we will develop, evaluate, and choose our solution that is found best able to deliver the community's vision of the district's future educational environments. Here in this video, we are going to explore where we are now, focusing on the first phase of the master planning process. We will review our enrollment and outline our current facilities. We will then assess the current physical condition of our buildings and discuss functionally how our buildings are supporting our teachers and students. Also a part of this phase, not covered in this video, but done through community focus groups, will include defining future goals and aspirations relative to programs and student opportunities. A baseline consideration when creating a facility master plan is student enrollment. As shown here, enrollment of the pre-K through 12 students has been relatively steady over the past 4 years, with expectations to see similar trends over the coming years. The 2020-21 school year does show a dip. However, this is heavily attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic and echoes declines seen in many districts across the state. That steady enrollment can be seen by grade level as well. As shown here, while there are some higher peaks across some various grades and years, the typical pattern is relatively steady, showing no major bubbles or gaps in students passing through the district. Due to our multiple communities, another important factor is to see the comparison of enrollment at the building level. With the high school serving all students, its year-to-year enrollment echoes what we saw overall, relatively steady, with a slight bubble peak in the 2019-2020 year. This chart also shows us which of the pre-K-8 facilities have experienced the most variation year to year. Again, the 2020-21 school year should be considered an outlier when reviewing this information, but you can see relatively flat enrollment at both Arthur and Atwood Hammond grade schools, with slight decreasing enrollment trend at Lovington. Now that we understand our student enrollment needs, let's look at our facilities. Arthur CUSD 305 has 4 buildings serving approximately 1,100 students. Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond High School in Arthur serves roughly 315 students in grades 9 through 12. Originally constructed in 1929, the facility has had 3 major additions over the years, the most recent occurring in 1993. The facility is now approximately 82,300 square feet. The district's pre-K through 8th grade population is supported by 3 grade school facilities. Arthur Grade School serves roughly 380 of those students. Originally constructed in 1960, this facility has had 2 major additions over the years, with the most recent occurring in 2014. The facility is now approximately 48,000 square feet. Lovington Grade School serves roughly 190 students. Also originally constructed in 1960, this facility has had 1 major addition in 1970, with the facility now being approximately 43,000 square feet. Atwood Hammond Grade School, located in Atwood, serves roughly 270 students pre-K through 8. Originally constructed in 1965, this facility has had 2 major additions over the years, with the most recent occurring in 2000. The facility is now approximately 56,000 square feet. There are 2 additional sites to consider that support the district's transportation and sport fields. At the Lovington Grade School site, is housed the bus garage, a large green space sometimes used for practices, and the district's only baseball field, utilized by all ages. In Arthur, just a block from the high school site, is the stadium and track, used by soccer and football. Softball currently utilizes a Park District field in Atwood for their competitive events. So in summary, Arthur CUSD 305 has 4 facilities totaling just under 230,000 square feet. To put this building stock into perspective, if the district were to build these facilities new today, it would cost roughly $80 million. This, of course, is not necessary, but allows us to get a good understanding of the value of the facilities we currently have in service. Now, as we review the current conditions of our facilities, there are 2 key components. The first are the physical needs. These are the brick and mortar needs of our facilities. The second component is the functional needs. This will show how well a building functions as a school for today's students. Through this process, with this information, we will be able to calculate a cost-benefit ratio. This will act as a comparative score when reviewing solutions later in our process. So let's first discuss the physical needs of the district's buildings. This work was compiled via site investigations made by the district's design team, including tours with building administrators. This assessment includes all items relative to the building, such as electrical, HVAC and plumbing, roofs, and the site. The findings show that there are approximately $17.3 million of total physical needs between the 4 district facilities. You can see this is less than 20% of that replacement cost, so overall, facilities are in relatively good shape, just showing signs of age. Comparing each building, the most work is found at the high school, followed by Arthur Elementary and then Atwood, Hammond, and Lovington grade schools. This variation is due in part to large system needs at the high school and Arthur grade school relative to their HVAC systems. It is also important to review these needs relative to the size of the facility. As can be seen here, the high school and Arthur Elementary School still have the higher need, but the impact of building size is clearly shown relative to the high school needs, as its dollars per square foot become more closely aligned with the other buildings, while the condition of Atwood, Hammond, and Lovington begin to align. Looking at the various systems across the district, most of the need is in the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems, comprising approximately 60% of that total need. Finishes, which includes things like flooring and ceilings, are just under 20%. Roofs are approximately 10%, with sprinkler installation at areas without and asbestos abatement resulting in the final pieces of the pie. While there are approximately $17.2 million of physical needs, and please note these are not all urgent items, those improvements would not improve how the facility supports students and teachers as a school. This is where we turn to our second piece of the assessment. This is the Educational Adequacy Assessment, or the Functional Assessment. This assessment explores the school site, safety and security, program support, educational environment, or maintainability, as well as the effect those previously discussed building systems have on learners, in order to understand and grade how well the building works as a school. To complete this portion of the assessment, district administrators and the design team reviewed a 96-question survey to evaluate how well your building functions in various ways when compared against a future-ready facility. These questions included things like, does the school have a single point of entry that is easily observable from the office area and/or regularly controlled by staff members? Is communication among students enhanced by large space commons or multi-purpose areas? Does the school's library or media center provide the appropriate space and environment? Is the design of specialized learning areas compatible with instructional needs? Is the classroom furniture flexible and lend itself to large groups, small groups, and independent learning? Is the traffic flow of students aided by adequately sized foyers, corridors, and stairways? Or is the overall design of the school building aesthetically pleasing inviting, and appropriate for the age of the students. These result in a functional grade for each building. This is a comparative between each district facility, and this score will act as a baseline against which future scenarios can be compared. 90 to 100 is considered excellent. It meets today's needs as a school and can easily accommodate likely future needs. A brand new building typically scores in the 95 to 97.5 range. 70 to 90, considered satisfactory, meets today's needs and with some minor investment can accommodate likely future needs. 50 to 70 is borderline. It meets most of today's needs but will require major investment to meet future needs. 30 to 50 is considered poor. It doesn't meet many of your needs today, and major investments are needed to continue in service. Less than 30 is inadequate and shouldn't be used for education. As can be seen here, Atwood Hammond scores the best at 76.1, and with some relatively minor investment could be supporting best practices. Lovington just barely at 69.7 and Arthur at 61.9 fall into that borderline area where it will require a bit more investment to meet the needs of future students. And lastly, the high school facility falls into the high end of the poor range at 48.7%. At this score, some major investment could be needed to make this facility support students for generations to come. When looking at the scores in more detail, you can begin to see areas of greatest needs. First of all facilities are safe, shown by the red bar, with some impacts at the high school score due to the age of the facility. However, the largest deficiency and the greatest opportunity for improvement at all four buildings relates to program support and the educational environment. The district hopes that you have found this video to be informative. As mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is just the beginning of this process. We will continue our work to outline where we are now, begin to identify where we want to go, and then dive deep as a community to understand the best path to get there. For more information, please visit the district website at www.CUSD305.org and follow the link at the top of the page for more information related to the district's facility planning efforts. To be a part of the process and begin to set the course for Arthur CUSD 305 schools, you can also follow the link shown here to sign up for focus group meetings in early March. You can register for these focus group meetings by going to www.bookwin.com/leading simply.